Good evening, everybody. My name is meteorologist Austin Stance, and I am here to provide you with an air quality alert update. For much of the United States, we have seen quite a bit of information circulating out there regarding what we've been seeing in terms of wildfire and wildfire smoke extending across portions of the country, causing different impacts between air quality, hazy conditions, and there's a lot of information to break down on what it means, how to stay safe out there, and when this could potentially get better. So, nevertheless, I just want to spend about 5 minutes breaking this down for you to give you a good update on the information that's been coming out, what you can expect ahead, and how to prepare. So let's jump right into it. Currently on your screen, what you're looking at is the Air Quality Forecast Guidance Viewer. This is a map from the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration. In particular, what we're looking here is air quality elements, specifically the hourly particulate matter measured at 2.5 micrometers or less. Why is that important? Well, particulate matter measured at 2.5 micrometers or less becomes inhalable matter. That starts to get into your body, your bloodstream, your lungs. This is stuff that can irritate those airways, cause asthma attacks. Extended, if you're out there for extended periods of time, we can worsen lung disease, especially those out there with COPD. And there's a lot of areas being affected right now by this particulate matter. And so this is made up from that wildfire smoke. So we'll take a look at a second map in just a couple minutes regarding that near surface level smoke. That is the smoke that would be surrounding you. But right now, taking a look at the particulate matter, you'll notice that the red, in areas such as Iowa, Illinois, Wisconsin, Chicago, Milwaukee, you guys have had a tough time today in terms of air quality. Today was not the day you wanted to be outside. And that's going to be like that for the next 24 to 48 hours. We'll talk about why it's going to stay that way and why we're not going to see too much improvement over the next anywhere from day to day and a half. And then areas further south, you'll notice that stretches all the way down into Texas here. So, real quick, again, particulate matter across the board. That would be the healthiest that we'd like to see the air quality here. What we're seeing, any level above 50 here starts to become unhealthy. That's why you start to see things become orange. And then as we head into the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, you start to get red, and then those darker shades of red. Those are the conditions that can really cause health impacts, short term and long term, depending on how long you're exposed for. So taking a look here, let's go back up and focus on the northern portions here, focused in the red. Over the next 24 hours, we'll see some improvement, not much, and we see that start to extend further south. And then late into Thursday, we do see a little bit of rainfall make its way through, but you'll notice areas like Chicago still in that red into Thursday, then central Illinois. Then that starts to extend into Iowa again, and we'll actually see northern Indiana into far western Ohio as well. Those are areas going to be severely impacted by this particulate matter that you can inhale, and even areas in yellow. Pay attention to this because, again, you don't want to be inhaling any foreign substances or objects into your body, right? Particularly why particulate matter is measured again at micrometers. So you can't see it with your naked eye. Anything above 50 here is going to be really impactful, really unhealthy, and can cause some health impacts, sometimes severe. These are fine particles made up from the wildfire smoke, and it can be inhaled and get into the bloodstream, into the body, and cause those health impacts. So let's take a look now. We saw over the next few days where this particulate matter is going to be the most significant. We can see that here as we're kind of looping through. And again, pay attention if you are in those areas. Again, Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, Wisconsin, Ohio, Michigan, and then even further south where we're seeing the yellow, Kentucky, Tennessee, Arkansas, Texas, Louisiana. These are areas that the smoke is being pulled much further south, and we'll talk about why that is in just a minute. But let's go back to our air quality elements here and go back to the near surface smoke. This is the smoke that is closest to the ground or just a few meters off the ground. We can see that smoke again in Wisconsin there, just passing out of Minnesota. Minnesota had some really unhealthy air quality conditions yesterday into today, and now it's heading into Wisconsin, into Illinois. Again, this is smoke that is surrounding you, nearest to the ground. So this is not high up in the atmosphere where it's not affecting you. This is where it's going to make the most impact on your body because it is surrounding you. So these are, again, these are the areas that you want to pay attention to where you're seeing these reds and yellows. And while it may not look as intimidating on this map as the previous map, right now what we're focused on here is not the intimidation of the color so much as just the color at all. You see yellow, orange, or red, that's smoke that's surrounding you. You'll see the far western part of the country not seeing really much of anything, all zeros, right? That's what we would like to see. We don't want to see any smoke really surrounding the body in which we can inhale. So here we go. Let me take that. I just got an email there. Sorry about that. We loop this through. You'll notice that yellow starts to extend into southern portions of Wisconsin, then into Illinois. So that's where we were seeing that red on that particulate matter, because that is what is made up of this wildfire smoke. So again, very important to pay attention to those areas. You'll notice some big improvements further to the south as we go through the next 24 to 48 hours. That is because we're actually going to see a system push through. But we're still going to see high pressure further off north, which is circulating, which is still going to grab onto some of that smoke and circulate it back down into portions of the country that have already been affected once, that can then have to deal with this again as we head into later into the week, then into the weekend, and possibly even into next week, depending on how fast we can see first responders get hold of these wildfires in Canada. And even some are happening further north as well. We're seeing over 200 wildfires right now. Many of them are currently listed as out of control and not contained. And that is going to continue to increase the wildfire smoke that we're seeing across the country and continue to cause some impacts with those hazy conditions, air quality issues. So now let's transition into why this smoke is having impacts in portions of the country that typically wouldn't see that, right? We saw just like a year or two ago where we saw that transition with New York and that landscape where you could see the city and then it got orange and orange and orange and so much to the point that you really couldn't even see the landscape anymore. You know, typically we don't see that. You know, that's not something that we see now. Portions of the Northeast also going to be affected once again by this. But again, places like Chicago typically aren't dealing with issues like this, you know, so this is not something that they're really prepared for. So we're going to talk about what you can do to stay safe here in just a few minutes. But right now, let's transition into looking at this surface level map. This surface map shows us some high pressure, some low pressure. This system that we're seeing right now, this is valid from tonight into Friday. And we'll notice this low pressure, that system continues moving to the southeast here. This is going to bring some rainfall here, and you'll notice those hashed areas. That's kind of where we saw some of the improvement happening from that surface level smoke, because that low pressure, right? Low pressure means there's not a lot of pressure on the atmosphere, so things can rise and escape more easily than you would if there was high pressure. Imagine high pressure, right? You pushing down, that's causing pressure. So areas further to the north are seeing a lot more areas of high pressure. That's pushing down on the atmosphere, not allowing for that smoke to rise and escape, but keeping it closer to the surface level and causing more impacts in terms of hazier conditions, poor breathing qualities out there, so air quality being impacted as well. So this is what we're focused on right now. This area of high pressure further off to the north really going to cause some issues over the next 24 to 48 hours for areas like Wisconsin, Minnesota, Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio. As that low pressure continues to push off to the southeast, that high pressure will continue to move in. And then again, that's a circulating pressure motion, so we're seeing that get caught into those pressure areas and being circulated back into areas that have already been impacted. Now, the jet stream also plays an impact. The smoke gets caught in the jet stream, gets pulled further to the south. If that jet stream dips further south, that smoke goes with it. So again, I want to transition now back to what we were looking at, and I'm going to go back to the 2.5 particulate matter map in our air quality elements here. And again, I just want to go back here because while we talk about safety, I want people to be able to see where this is going to be most impactful over the next couple days. So what can you do to stay safe out there? Well, obviously, if you're going to be in areas in the red where this particulate matter is much higher in quantity, you're going to want to spend more time indoors. Try to limit your time outside. Have the air purifiers going. I only have one. I've been having to move it from room to room for right now. If you have a couple, get them running. Have those going in the house. That's really going to help filter that out through the house if you're walking in and out. Keep the windows closed. If you have to go outside, try to wear a mask if you're in this red area, right? If you're looking for the most effective, the N95 face mask respirator types that they usually wear, like in construction, I know it sounds silly, but they work around sawdust all day. They work around paint elements. That helps filter those things out. That will definitely help filter these smoky conditions outside out as well. Now, obviously, not everyone has access to those. Any face mask will really help prevent some of that matter being inhaled into your body. So if you're in one of these areas where you can really feel or even smell that smoke, that's an indicator that you're being surrounded by that. You're inhaling that in. Want to try to get some protection there. In your vehicle, I've actually had a couple of people tell me that they did not know that the button with the car indicator on it shows a little vehicle with almost like a little U-turn arrow next to their AC. They're like, I had no idea what that was. What that is recirculation of the air. It keeps the air in the vehicle and it recirculates it around, and that's the air that it uses to cool you while the AC is on. If you don't have that on, it's bringing air from the outside into the vehicle, and while you do have an air filter, those air filters are not made for, removing particles as small as these from the wildfire smoke. So what's happening is that's coming in, that's blowing into your face. You don't want to be, associated with that. So have that button, has a little picture of a vehicle, and I may even be able to pull one up for you right here so you can see it. Recirculation. Air symbol in car. There we go. And let me go to images. And hopefully we don't get any copyright issues for this because I just want to show this as an overall. So this is what you would be looking at. This would be the button you are looking at for your car to have that air recirculating through your vehicle and not bringing air from the outside in. So it's important to do that if you're driving out there and you have to be outdoors. Again, if you have to be outdoors, try to limit the time. Try to get a mask, especially if you're going to be in these areas that are in red here. These are going to be the areas where health impacts are affected the most. People with asthma, COPD, any form of lung disease. If you're currently ill with some form of bronchitis or respiratory illness, this can all make things worse, enhance it. And long-term issues, hospitalizations increase, mortality increases over time, things of that nature. You can go into a little bit more in depth into the health aspect of it within, like, the CDC and things like that. I'm sure you can find some articles if you're interested in that and how it can affect you long term as well. My job as a meteorologist is to tell you what's going on in the atmosphere right now, what you can do to keep yourself safe during this time, and areas being impacted. So, again, we'll do a quick loop of this map, and we'll see again that these areas off to the north here, and then into further south, you'll notice even into Kansas, southeastern Nebraska, Iowa again, Illinois, Wisconsin, into Indiana, northwestern Indiana, and then into the northeast. You'll start to see those darker oranges and reds moving to the east there as well. Areas that are going to be impacted. So pay attention to your air quality. I just wanted to do a little bit of a breakdown here for you and what all this means. I hope this was helpful. I can definitely provide a more in-depth breakdown, a longer breakdown. If someone reaches out to me or has any questions that you would like some more information on this, I would be happy to provide that for you. But for right now, I think we've done a great job of breaking down the areas that will be impacted, how to keep yourself safe, what some of these maps mean. And when we're talking about air quality, why is the air quality getting worse? We talked about particulate matter measured at 2.5 micrometers, that's the most unhealthy because we can inhale that. We talked about the map where we saw the surface level smoke, and that's the smoke that's surrounding you because it's closer to the surface. And then we talked about what you can do to stay safe out there as well. So I hope that this has been helpful for you. And if anyone has any questions or concerns, please feel free to reach out to me. I would be happy to answer any questions that you may have. Again, this is a issue across a major chunk of the country. So we're not just looking at one region. We're looking at the Midwest, the Northeast, the South, the Mid-South. These are areas that are being impacted. So we're all in this together in terms of trying to get through this. And until these wildfires get under control, we could see this continuing to be a problem for the next several days. So I wish everyone the best, and stay safe. And most of all, stay weather aware. I'm meteorologist Austin Stance. Have a great rest of your day.